As an educator, a student, and an administrator at Derby High School is very special to me. This year marks the centennial anniversary for the graduating class of 1911. Like all stories, this story has a beginning. 150 years ago, the town and its schools were very different from what they are today. In 1868, the city was known as El Paso. It also had no organized educational system. There were several schools, but they were all run by local churches. In 1872, the founders of the community decided to form a school district. At that time, the decision was made to build a school just east of the Arkansas River, near where K-15 runs through the current town of Derby. The school served students through the 8th grade. There was no high school at that point because most people didn't feel the need to continue education beyond the 8th grade. In 1905, that all changed. A gentleman by the name of J.S. Barnes was elected to the Kansas legislature. He authored a piece of legislation that became known as the Barnes High School Law. The law supported high schools with funding from the county. To receive this funding, school began to offer upper-level coursework: algebra, geography, grammar, and bookkeeping. In 1907, Derby High School was born, and two young ladies made the decision to further their education and go beyond the 8th grade. The first graduating class at Derby High School, the class of 1911, had only two members, Maud Dixon and Neva Pitts. The classes that followed them were much larger. The classes of 1912 and 1913 consisted of 10 students each, and the class of 1914 had 12 students. With more students enrolled, the school could offer more activities for its students. Soon, Derby High School had several sports teams. Students could participate in basketball, baseball, and track and field. The school also offered several clubs in its early years, including a YWCA chapter and the school yearbook staff. The increase in enrollment also forced the district to build a larger school building to accommodate the students. This new building was finished in 1917 at a cost of $15,000. In addition to being the first brick building in the city of Derby, the building also served as the highest point in Sedgwick County at that time. However, this new building didn't last very long. After serving students for only 6 short years, it burned to the ground. The exact cause of the fire was never determined. Despite this setback, though, the district had a bright future ahead. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, DHS courses, sports, and activities remained almost the same as they were in the school's early years.
There was only 12 in my class, and that was about the average class, so I know there was only 8 in the class that graduated before me, so we didn't have a lot of clubs.
Starting in the 1950s, however, things began to change. More students began to enroll in the school. By 1952, the student population had grown to the point where a new building was required. The increase in students also caused the coursework and activity offerings to become more varied to accommodate students with different interests. Throughout the 50s, Derby had a thriving football team. The team reached its peak for the decade in 1958, when the Panthers ended their season with 7 victories and only 2 defeats. Derby also had a pep club and cheerleaders to help support the team during important games. Football and basketball games in the 50s were often festive occasions, with homecoming ceremonies and performances from the marching band supplementing the sporting events. Academic clubs also became very popular. Some clubs included the chess club, the photography club, the science club, and the school newspaper staff, which published the first issue of the Panther's Tale newspaper in 1957. Several new classes were also introduced in the 50s to reflect the changing culture of the times. Courses in typing, industrial arts, and commercial law helped prepare students for the workforce, while home economics courses taught students life skills such as cooking and sewing. The 1950s were a time of incredible growth for Derby High School, and that growth and development would only increase in years to come. The 1960s and 1970s were a period of major growth for DHS. By 1960, the DHS student body had grown so much that another new building was required to house the students. This building was the largest yet, with 2 floors, multiple gymnasiums, and a large auditorium. With the new facilities, more sports and activities could be offered. Starting in the mid-1960s, students could join the new wrestling, gymnastics, and cross-country teams. However, female athletes were few and far between at Derby in the 1960s, as there were no women's sports teams. This began to change for the better in the 1970s, with the introduction of a volleyball team and women's tennis, golf, basketball, and track teams. Women could also participate in the Pantherettes dance team, which provided halftime entertainment at many sporting events.
There was no girls' sports, so since then those sports have come in, equality for girls. Equitability issues were, there's been many changes over the years.
But sports were not the only programs benefiting from the new building. The new auditorium allowed the performing arts to flourish as well. With a large stage at their disposal, the drama club could stage more plays each year. In addition, the department began to stage musicals. The school's vocal music department also flourished in the 1970s under the direction of Ross Hearn. More choirs were introduced, including a sophomore mixed chorus and the DHS chansonettes and madrigals. One of the most notable additions of the 60s and 70s, though, was the bell that now sits at the current building's front entrance. This bell was originally purchased from an El Dorado salvage company for the cost of $150 by the class of 1967, who intended it to be a lasting gift to the school. Rumor has it, the bell was loaded into a pickup truck, and the seniors drove up and down Derby's main streets, ringing it all the way back to the school. The bell was used as a victory bell for many years. It also became a part of Derby's graduation traditions.
They ring it every year upon graduation, the last day of school for the seniors, and I think they also ring it the first day that freshmen come in when they start here at the high school.
At one point, the bell even became part of a memorial for deceased students. The bell has become a symbol of DHS and stands as one of the most important and lasting additions to the school from the 60s and 70s. Derby High School's growth only increased in the 1980s and 1990s. During these decades, Derby students won many awards and honors for the school, and many of the traditions that Derby students still observe today were established. Students at Derby High School won championships in several sports during the 80s and 90s. The wrestling team had several excellent seasons in the 80s, winning state championships in 1985 and 1986. And the gymnastics team dominated the 90s with 3 state championships in 1991, 1998, and 1999. However, the most triumphant moment in Derby sports in this period was Derby's first state championship in football, which the team claimed in 1994.
When I was in school, it was the height of our football team. My senior year was the first year we won state. So we had an amazing football team.
This championship firmly established the reputation of Derby High School's football program and helped to make Derby a football town.
Like today, I think one of the most special times of the year was the fall and football season. I didn't play football, but I was at every game, home and away. That was something that we did when I was younger. Even in grade school, with no family members playing football, we went to every game, home and away. Traveled wherever the team went, and that was just part of growing up in Derby. You went to the football games.
While some sports programs brought home championship titles in the 80s and 90s, others changed in different ways. In 1981, the girls and boys track teams were combined into one team under a new coaching staff. The track program grew under this format, and the program is still run in this way today. Derby also gained a soccer program in 1980. Though the team performed well on the field, the fact that so few schools in Kansas had a soccer team at the time of the program's introduction unfortunately meant that there was no state championship for the team to strive for in the program's early years. Many traditions that DHS students take pride in today have their roots in the 1980s. Derby's homecoming festivities intensified during these years,
The spirit was contagious. Everybody bought spirit ribbons from the cheerleaders and wore the green, and it made football season extra special.
With the introduction of Spirit Weeks, Derby students began to show their school pride with themed dress days. Another tradition, Powder Puff football, started out in the 80s. Junior and senior girls took the field once a year to face off in a game of football. The vocal music department's popular Renaissance Feast and Pops concert also originated in this period. But the most monumental change of all came in the mid-1990s, when students moved to a state-of-the-art new building.
3 years of construction, the new and improved high school is ready to be unveiled. Classes are scheduled to take place in the new facility starting January 18th.
For both staff and students, anytime that you shut down school in one location and have to move everything and then open a new one, it's difficult, but it's a move that we're going to be able to do. It's been planned, so we think it'll be a smooth transition.
At the time it was built, the building, which still serves students today, was the largest and most technologically advanced high school in the state. With a computer network, numerous classrooms and science labs, a large auditorium, a lecture hall, and new gymnasiums and locker rooms, the building was a point of pride for many students and staff, who delighted in being #1 in size and spirit. During the 2000s, Derby High School continued the traditions that students had established in years past and maintained its reputation as one of the largest and most vibrant high schools in the state of Kentucky. The DHS football team, while it has yet to achieve another state championship victory, was the runner-up in the 2002 state championships. And the DHS wrestling team continued its winning tradition through the decade with runner-up titles in 2007, 2009, and 2010. The 2000s also ushered in a host of new traditions at DHS. One of the most notable, the Winter Olympics, was started to increase school pride during winter pep assemblies. The event pitted the freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior classes against each other in a series of relays and other group competitions. This event was a huge success. Today, Derby High School continues to make a difference in the lives of its students. DHS gives students more than an education. It gives them the opportunity to excel in a community that supports their achievements. Since the first graduating class earned their diplomas back in 1911, DHS has always been a great place to be.